Hey, and welcome. So today we're tackling a huge question. How is real wealth actually built? We're going to shatter some myths and map out a totally different way of thinking. And hey, if you get something out of this, a quick subscribe or a comment lets us know we're on the right track and helps us make more of these. All right, let's just dive right in. Okay, just take a look at this number. $117 billion. It's a number so big your brain kind of short circuits trying to process it, right? It almost doesn't feel real.
So that massive, unbelievable number, that's roughly the net worth of Amazon's founder, Jeff Bezos. And then, then there's the rest of us.
For most of us, our reality looks a little different, right? It's that constant cycle of working a job just to keep the lights on and pay the bills. You look at your savings account and it's barely budging. Everything feels so expensive. And on top of that, you might be dealing with student loans or credit card debt, all while feeling like you're putting in all this work and just not getting paid what you're worth.
You know, when you see that incredible gap between the super wealthy and your own day-to-day grind, it is so easy to feel like the whole system is just a rigged game, and you're on the losing side.
But what if that feeling is wrong? What if that whole conclusion is based on a false premise? To even see the other path, we have to start by unlearning what we think we know about how all this works. So let's start with myth number one. This is the story we see everywhere, right? In movies, on TV, the wealthy are always portrayed as these people who were either born with a silver spoon, got insanely lucky, or they're just evil, corrupt people who cheated to get to the top. It's a simple story, but is it actually true? Well, the data tells a completely different story. A recent report looked at the world's ultra-wealthy, we're talking people with over $30 million, and found that a staggering 68% of them are self-made. Think about that. The vast majority started from somewhere else. And that brings us to the second myth. And oh boy, this is a big one. This is the story our parents, our schools, and pretty much all of society has been drilling into our heads forever. Go to school, get a good, safe job with a steady paycheck, and that's your path to wealth. But here is why that is a trap. See, a job just trades your time for money. And your time, well, that's the one thing you can never get more of. Let's just do some quick math. Let's say you earn $20 an hour working a standard 40-hour week. It would take you almost 24 years just to gross $1 million. And that's before a single dollar in taxes, before you pay for rent, food, anything. And it doesn't even factor in inflation. You are trading decades of your life for a number that just won't change your life. So, if trading our time for money is a dead end, what's the alternative? Well, it takes a whole new way of thinking about things. It means shifting your focus away from time and onto value. And here's the absolute key. You have to stop chasing the money itself. In our world, you are paid in proportion to the perceived value that you provide. It's not about how many hours you work. It's about the size of the value you create. This, right here, is the fundamental shift. The old, broken equation that most of us live by is time equals money. The new equation, the one that actually works, is value equals money. That changes absolutely everything. People complain that athletes are overpaid, but the market perceives an enormous amount of value in what they do, so they're rewarded for that value. So what does this new equation look like in the real world? It's actually a pretty simple three-step framework. First, you find a problem that people have. Second, you create a solution to that problem. And third, this is the magic part. You figure out how to scale that solution to reach a massive number of people. So if you want to build wealth, you have to stop looking for money and start looking for problems. Now that third step, scaling, that is the absolute game changer. That's what lets you finally break the link between your time and your income. But before you can scale, you have to find the right problem to solve in the first place. And of course, the first question everyone has is, okay, that sounds great, but how in the world do I find a problem that's big enough to be worth solving? And the answer is actually so much simpler than you'd think. You just have to listen. Seriously, start paying attention to what people complain about. Every single time you hear someone say, "Ugh, I wish this was easier," or "I really hate it when," that's not just a complaint. That is a blinking sign pointing to a potential business idea. So once you have a solution, the real key is to make sure it's scalable. So for example, a yoga teacher who charges by the hour for private lessons, they haven't really escaped the trap. They've just created a different kind of job. Their income is still capped by how many hours they can physically work. But an online yoga course with videos, that can be sold to one person or 1 million people, all over the world 24/7 with no extra time from the creator. That is what scale looks like. And all of this whole journey, it brings us to the final and, I think, the most important point. Because when you really get down to it, this was never, ever just about the money. So I gotta ask you, what's the real goal here? Is it really about having a huge number in a bank account? Is it about piles of cash? No, of course not. The money is just the tool. The real prize, the reason you go on this journey, has always been freedom. It's the freedom to wake up when you want and to own your own day instead of being tied to a 9-to-5 schedule. It's freedom from that constant low-level anxiety about paying the bills. It's the freedom to travel, to chase your passions, to finally, truly live your life on your own terms. So, you see, the most important lesson in all of this was never actually about money. It was about the one single resource that we can never, ever get back: our time. The whole point of creating value and building wealth is to buy back your time. And that, right there, is the real truth about money. Thanks so much for tuning in. If this helped you see things in a new way, subscribe for more. We'll see you on the next one.